They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce,
But not you, man.
but they can't control me. You
Not
see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up.
Leave me, leave the king the fuck alone. I don't care, bro. I'm gonna post my wife as much as I want. Go post your wife on your Instagram.
Kanye has always been unpredictable, but this time, his revelation might be the most explosive of his entire career. In a storm of late-night posts and unfiltered rants, he made a claim so staggering it threatens to shake the very foundation of hip-hop's royal dynasty. He didn't just take aim at JayZ as an old rival or estranged friend. Instead, Ye leveled an accusation that cuts straight through the carefully polished image Jay has spent decades building, alleging he's hiding hundreds of illegitimate children. For years, JayZ has been celebrated as the mogul who rose from the Marcy projects to billionaire status, the devoted husband standing beside Beyonce, the father of 3 who embodies family and stability in a chaotic industry. But now, in one furious outburst, Kanye insists it's all been nothing but smoke and mirrors.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
The timing of West's claim couldn't be more striking. For months, he's been spiraling in public, taking shots at Kim Kardashian, the industry, and the celebrities he insists are controlled. But this one cuts deeper, because it targets a man who was once like family. Remember, JayZ wasn't just another peer. He was the big brother who helped launch Ye into superstardom. For Kanye to now accuse him of living a double life, with secret heirs scattered across the country, takes their feud into uncharted territory. What makes it even more unsettling is that these rumors aren't entirely new. Whispers of secret children have followed Jay for years. Women stepping forward, lawsuits filed, DNA tests allegedly dodged. Ye didn't invent this fire. He's simply dousing gasoline on embers that were never fully extinguished.
Leaving with them, he took them to some apartment building, and you know, they did what they did in there. You know, talked a little bit, had a good time, party, and I guess you know, I can't fully talk as my mom because I'm not my mom. I'm just telling you guys what she told me. It was this, and I honestly just believe it. You know, it's just no doubt in my mind that I believe it. My mom wouldn't just.
We only have to look back at Letitia Macer, the Maryland woman who once claimed to be Jay-Z's daughter, posting on Instagram under the name Jay's first daughter. She insisted her family told her all her life that the rap mogul was her father, and her sister even backed up the story online. Then there's Rymir Satterthwaite, who has spent more than a decade fighting to get JayZ into court for a paternity test. His case has been dismissed, refiled, appealed, and dragged through multiple jurisdictions, with Jay's legal team calling it nothing more than harassment. Yet the persistence of these claims and the uncanny resemblance some say they see has kept the conversation alive. Now Kanye has reignited it on the biggest possible stage, practically daring the world to connect the dots. And what makes his accusations cut even deeper is his insistence that this isn't just about hidden family drama. To him, Jay-Z and Beyonce are the architects of his public downfall. According to Ye, they've been pulling strings behind the scenes for years, engineering attempts to have him discredited, institutionalized, and silenced. He points to 2014, when the Carters skipped his wedding to Kim Kardashian, a slight that still festers in his rants. He recalls the sting of being passed over for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show in favor of Kendrick Lamar, a snub he saw as deliberate humiliation. And he claims that during his bitter custody battles with Kim, the power couple not only stood back, but actively pushed him further into the abyss. They could have used their cultural position to stop the Kardashians from running me over, Ye raged, a line that shows just how personal this betrayal feels. For Kanye, the message is chillingly clear. His enemies aren't faceless executives, they're people he once broke bread with. He accuses Beyonce of using her legendary control over her image to quietly manipulate the press against him, ensuring every outburst was branded as instability. And in his mind, she wasn't just protecting herself. she was protecting an empire. If JayZ really does have a network of hidden heirs, then Ye's revelations would pose a direct threat to the Carter dynasty. What better way to neutralize him than to convince the world he's lost his mind? Beyonce's perfectionism, her reputation for carefully curating every detail of her public presence, fits all too neatly into Ye's theory. Could she have orchestrated the narrative from behind the scenes, all while smiling flawlessly on red carpets across the globe?
It's just he's Kanye West, so it's like relentless. I was like, yeah, popcorn.
At first glance, Ye's theory might sound unhinged, but there's a thread of consistency running through it. In one of his posts, he admitted, "I always felt like the black sheep, like I wanted family in this music." That line might be more telling than any of his insults because it exposes the wound beneath the chaos. What Kanye wanted was loyalty and belonging. What he claims he got instead was betrayal. And if we take his accusations at face value, that betrayal wasn't just about cold shoulders or career snubs. It was a calculated campaign to silence him because he knows too much about JayZ's private life. The context only makes the speculation spread further. For years, lawsuits and whispers about JayZ's alleged secret children have surfaced, each time vanishing under legal technicalities or media silence. One case even included sworn affidavits claiming the woman involved was underage when she conceived, a detail explosive enough to make anyone desperate to bury it. And here's the chilling part. Given Kanye's once close relationship with Jay, it's hard to believe he doesn't know at least fragments of the truth. So when he hurls out accusations of hundreds of illegitimate children, it might not be a pure fantasy. It could be an exaggeration rooted in rumors the rest of the world chose to ignore. Rumors that Ye has now dragged back into the spotlight like a bombshell headline.
Yeah, and the thing about the kids at some point here, and not for the younger ones, it's at some point. For North, it's right now, right? That even if she doesn't see it, even if somehow Kim is able to keep that away from her, the kids that her friends at school, they're gonna know about it, they're gonna see it, and it puts the kids in a horrible situation.
What's even more intriguing is the way Ye weaves his own unraveling into this narrative. He insists he hasn't been targeted because of his erratic behavior, but because he dared to speak the one truth no one else would, the truth about music's most untouchable couple. When he lashed out at their children online, the backlash was swift and merciless. Even Kim Kardashian publicly said she was appalled. But in Ye's mind, that was all part of the setup. Attack the Golden family, and the machine will paint you as the villain. Post something vile about the twins, delete it, and suddenly the headlines brand you as an unfit father. Ye claims he didn't delete the tweet out of guilt or second thoughts, but simply to avoid losing his account altogether. To him, it wasn't a mistake, it was a trap. In his view, every reaction, every headline, every outrage was the system closing in, protecting JayZ and Beyonce at all costs.
But after that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about JayZ and his nefarious past.
And then there's a backdrop. JayZ now finds himself tangled in lawsuits, not just over paternity claims, but also through his decades-long association with Sean Diddy Combs. Federal raids, civil suits, whispered scandals. While Jay has managed to keep his name relatively clean, the storm swirling around him is impossible to ignore. Ye seizes on this moment like a hawk, urging the world to look closer. His message is clear. If Diddy can fall, how long before the spotlight shifts to his closest allies? And if the rumors are true, if there really are hidden heirs scattered across the country, how many more will step forward once the Carter shield finally begins to crack?
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
The tension only gets juicier when you throw Beyonce into the mix. Could she, the perfectionist who scripts every interview and makes even a grocery store run look like a Vogue cover, be the one orchestrating the drip, drip, drip of headlines about Ye's instability? Think about it. Every meltdown, every "I'm gonna buy the universe" rant, every outfit that looks like he lost a bet, it all suddenly becomes part of a carefully managed PR campaign. a narrative that protects Jay-Z's legacy while turning his loudest critic into the internet's favorite punchline. It's a chilling thought, but also kind of genius. I mean, if Beyonce can make us believe she casually woke up like this, what else is she capable of? Now here's the question. Is Ye spiraling into wild paranoia, seeing Illuminati shadows where there are none? Or is he the only one bold or reckless enough to point at the Carters and say, the emperor has no clothes, but at least he has a killer Roc Nation deal? We've seen Kanye play the victim before, sure, but this time, the stakes are bigger. This isn't just about music beefs, snubbed weddings, or who got the Super Bowl halftime slot. This is about hidden families, secret heirs, and billion-dollar empires guarded like Fort Knox. And in Ye's telling, Beyonce isn't just standing by her man, she's the queen on the chessboard, plotting 10 moves ahead. If that means turning one of their oldest allies into a global meme, so be it. After all, who runs the world? Not Ye.
No, this part is not alleged. Jay-Z and his team, they have been ducking and dodging taking the DNA test.
So when Ye insists Jay-Z has hundreds of hidden children, we've got to pause and ask, is this just another one of his I forgot to take my phone away from myself at 3 a.m. rants? Or is it the tip of a truth the industry's been hiding for decades? Because the more you sift through the fragments, the lawsuits, the women stepping forward, the lawsuits dismissed again, the suspicious silences, the harder it gets to just wave it all off. At a certain point, you start thinking, okay, either Jay is clean, or he's running the world's largest unacknowledged daycare. And if Beyonce really has been pulling the strings of the media, then Ye's meltdown wasn't just an accident, it was demolition day, with Queen Bee in a hard hat, clipboard in hand, saying, "All right, boys," drop the wrecking ball right on his Twitter feed. The mystery only thickens because every time Ye hurls a bomb, he follows it up with a soft little, "but I love Jay though," tweet, which doesn't sound like an apology. It sounds like the digital equivalent of looking over your shoulder mid-rant. One minute he's torching the dynasty, the next he's basically whispering, "Hey big bro, no hard feelings, right?" That nervous back and forth tells us one thing. He knows exactly how powerful the Carters really are. And if he's even half right, then their empire isn't just built on platinum albums and billion-dollar deals. It's built on secrets so dark, they make Area 51 look like a public library.
I felt like, they had a whole lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in. Because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do.
From the very beginning, Ye and Jay-Z were more than collaborators. They were brothers in arms, rewriting the rules of hip-hop together. Jay gave Ye his shot, and Ye repaid him by producing some of the most defining tracks of the early 2000s. For a while, it seemed nothing could come between them. Their chemistry was electric, their bond immortalized in songs and onstage moments that felt untouchable. But behind the glossy image, cracks were forming. By 2016, the fallout was undeniable. Ye ranted mid-concert about Jay never visiting after Kim Kardashian's terrifying Paris robbery, a moment that exposed just how raw the wound had become. Jay fired back on his 444 album, dropping razor-sharp lines that painted Ye as the wayward little brother who'd lost his way. What started as creative friction had mutated into something darker. And in Ye's telling, the betrayal wasn't accidental. It was deliberate. It was orchestrated. And it was designed to break him down piece by piece.
You know what I'm saying? They could control Shaq. They could control Charles Barkley. They could control LeBron James.
This is where West's cryptic posts start to take on a chilling edge. He's long accused powerful forces in Hollywood of controlling celebrities, but the names he singled out were striking. They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce. In one infamous rant, he cast himself as the lone survivor, the one voice that couldn't be bought, silenced, or controlled. To Ye, the Carters weren't just absent friends, they were puppet masters, pulling strings to make sure the world saw him not as a visionary, but as unstable, even dangerous. The pattern is haunting. Deleted tweets, late-night outbursts, sudden backtracking. Each episode feels less like random chaos and more like coded warnings, followed by frantic retreats to shield himself from retaliation. The narrative Ye presents is one of manipulation at the highest levels. In his telling, loyalty is a casualty, and reputation is sacrificed, all to preserve the empire, no matter the cost.
Basically, my mom was at a show and she was with a friend. And y'all know, I guess her and her friend stayed to, after the show, he was doing little signings and little autographs and stuff like that. I guess he wasn't too big, but you know, I guess females, when the show is over, you can sign little autographs and stuff like that, talk to the people who perform. She said she went up there.
And then comes the most dangerous layer, the whispers of Jay-Z's alleged secret family. For years, industry insiders have hinted at a shadow network of individuals who quietly insist they are his biological children. The claims have surfaced through lawsuits, Instagram revelations, and sworn affidavits, only to vanish again in sealed records and sudden dismissals. Take Illegitimate Macer, who says she was told her entire life that JayZ was her father, even pointing to her mother's past connection to him. Or Ramir Satterthwaite, who has spent more than a decade locked in a legal battle, trying to force Jay into a paternity test. His filings have bounced from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to federal court, dragging on like a ghost story the system refuses to resolve. Each time, JayZ's legal team pushed back on technicalities, jurisdiction, property ownership, statutes of limitation, even questions about age of majority. And each time, the DNA test never came. Why? That question lingers, stubborn and unanswered.
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
A former friend once claimed that one of Jay-Z's supposed daughters actually lives in a house he pays for, bills covered, but with strict rules about what she can and can't show off. Basically, the world's weirdest Netflix reality show, keeping up with the Carters' alleged kid, but don't post it on Instagram. Others whisper that quiet settlements have been cut to keep these stories from ever reaching the front page. And while none of it has ever been proven, the persistence is remarkable. The same names surface again and again like bad Wi-Fi. If even one of these claims were true, it would completely rewrite Jay-Z's image as the perfect family man beside Beyonce. And the fact that he keeps dodging DNA tests? That just makes people wonder if Maury Povich has him on speed dial. Now the stakes are higher than ever. With Diddy's empire crumbling and old lawsuits dragging Jay-Z's name back into the mix, the last thing the Carters need is a parade of surprise children showing up like Oprah giveaways. You get a paternity claim, you get a paternity claim, everybody gets a paternity claim. Imagine the spectacle. Lawsuits piling up, interviews flooding daytime TV, investigations stacking higher than Jay's champagne towers. Tabloids would feast on it, and the Carter brand, carefully built on control, perfection, and flawless presentation, could unravel faster than one of Beyonce's wind machines on overdrive. And Ye? He seems hell-bent on dragging that possibility into the spotlight. Whether it's through rants, music, or cryptic interviews, he's hammering the same point. The Carters have secrets. And if Ye's right, those secrets aren't just skeletons in the closet. They're an entire underground family reunion waiting to happen.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we.
The most unsettling layer of all, Beyonce's alleged role as strategist in this saga. She's long been known as one of the most image-conscious performers in history, rarely granting interviews, carefully curating every public appearance, and controlling every frame of her narrative. But according to Ye, that control extends far beyond stage lighting and choreography. In his telling, it's about shaping the headlines themselves, using the media as a weapon to crush potential threats. If he's right, then every story branding him unstable, unfit, or outrageous wasn't just about his actions. It was part of a deliberate campaign to discredit him before he could expose Jay-Z's hidden past. That would mean Beyonce's flawless image isn't simply the result of discipline and perfectionism, but of ruthless calculation. And the timing only deepens the intrigue. Jay-Z has just been named in lawsuits tied to shocking allegations involving his longtime ally Diddy. Jay has strongly denied the claims, but the association alone is damaging. At the very same moment, Ye resurfaces with explosive accusations about illegitimate children and Hollywood manipulation. For a public that has already watched powerful men fall one by one under scandal, it's not hard to see how this could gain traction. If even a fraction of Ye's claims break through into mainstream attention, the Carters could be facing the fight of their lives.
He has a long history of wildly inappropriate and bizarre behavior. He's been very open about.
What really stands out is how Ye knows he's juggling dynamite. One minute he's dropping bombshells, the next he's scrambling to delete them like a teenager who just realized mom follows his Instagram. He insults, then apologizes. He says he loves JayZ, then calls him the villain. It's less strategy and more toxic group chat energy. This push and pull feels like a man caught between fear and rage, someone who thinks he's holding information that could shake the entire industry, but also knows the Carters aren't exactly the people you want showing up at your door. It's the behavior of someone convinced he's being silenced, which, ironically, only makes people listen harder. So, here we are, watching one of the most powerful couples in entertainment face the ugliest rumors of their careers, not from random trolls, but from a guy who used to sit at their dinner table. And the questions are getting spicier by the day. How many heirs are really out there? 5? 50? Enough to start their own Roc Nation Little League team? How far would Beyonce go to protect her flawless image? Does she have a crisis team or just a magic wand? And what happens if Ye decides he's done deleting and just lets it all rip? The empire that's looked bulletproof for decades might actually be held together with duct tape, NDAs, and Beyonce's win machines. Because if Ye is even half right, what we've seen so far is just the tip of an iceberg. And this iceberg comes with Instagram accounts, sworn affidavits, and probably a few tell-all books waiting in the drafts. The Carters have spent years projecting unity, glamour, and control. But what if behind the curtain is less royal dynasty and more Jerry Springer special with better lighting? So we leave you with the million-dollar question. Are Ye's claims the desperate cries of a man unraveling, or the first cracks in a dynasty built on secrets? Drop your theories in the comments, because one thing is certain, this saga isn't over. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, when the mask slips, the memes write themselves.